Since 1950, this circuit has been one of the most anticipated races of every season. Within the depths of the Ardennes forest, Belgium brings us one of the most exciting circuits of the F1 calendar. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, everybody, and to the round 6 of our Division 1 championship here at the Zoom Racing League. With its constant change of elevation and the most legendary corners known to mankind and the likes of Eau Rouge and Radillon, this 4.35 miles long circuit has everything you need within its 19 corners, from straight line speeds to a tricky chicane, and between those two a bunch of technical corners that will bring out the very best or the very worst of our drivers. Welcome everybody, I'm your host tonight, John Ranger. In the booth with me, Nathan Doan. Nathan, welcome to the booth once again. Glad to have you with me by my side. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Tonight we have Mercedes in P1 with 199 points, 12 points clear of Red Bull in second place. Then after that we have Alfa Romeo with 159 points. They're doing a great showing, as they always do. Firmin Goulet did not start the last race, but we did have a reserve in his place last race, so they did get the points from that. Haas in fourth at the moment, 3 points clear of Williams in fifth. Then we have Aston Martin in sixth, Alpine seventh, McLaren eighth, and now Ferrari with a bit of news going on past the week. They had their team principal back down, then they had someone rise up and then leave as a driver, but came back as a driver. And now we have another driver for Ferrari who also came back as a driver, so very complicated with the Ferrari side. But now we have Luke Locklear and Major Castleman racing for the Scuderia tonight. Then finally in 10th place, of course, it is AlphaTauri. So not doing too well as AlphaTauri, even though they have two very capable drivers, one of which is, never mind, they are both here tonight, hoping to make up some points. We'll go into the driver standings now, and we have Mr. Cody Lawrence leading, as he always does, 20 points clear of Eric Carvalho in second, who's been on quite a rise in these recent races. He's going to want to continue that rise if he wishes to contend for the championship tonight. Then we have Marc-Lévy Bastion in third place, 105 points, so he's going to need a lot of work to even think about contention for the championship at this point. After that, Quentin Kay newly moved to Alpine from Williams, and after that we have the relatively new guy, Chad Swindell, who's won the last race and had a podium every time he started. After that, we have the team principal of Aston Martin, Aaron Altmaier, in sixth place, Jakub Karczewicz in the other Red Bull, in seventh place, Cam Bourne, Marcel Paps, Ryan Newton, Hector Ochoa, Firmin Goulet, Maxime Beaulieu, Magnussen Cube, Caleb Levins, Dane Clem, Logan Dukes, and Wade and Silva rounds out the rest of the standings. But I think we're going to go on board here with Chad Swindell. You know, as I said, he's relatively new to, how this this championship has been. Hudson Poole leaving in the second race of the season, so he's going to be wanting to make up some points for the Red Bull side. Very quick, this driver, so I think he's capable of maybe even contending for the championship. And we'll just see what he can do on this next hot lap here.
Yeah, he's just towards the end of his out lap, currently warming up his tires, and I think there's a couple drivers out there who've been practicing all week for Belgium. I think it's being at a very popular track. We're gonna see some possibly near esports times. I heard rumors of low 142s being thrown around. We'll see how that ends up being made through our race tonight. And we're going to go on board here. Chad Swindell's coming up through the bus stop chicane. Here he goes. I'll leave it to you, Nathan.
Yeah, so we're going to get into fourth gear and just flat out across the line here into turn one. It's a bit difficult this turn. You want to brake late and get on the power very early, carry lots of speed through the apex, and it looks like he has done just that. Getting on the power kind of tentatively compared to, what I've seen from other drivers. But now into the famous sections of Radillon and Rouge. This left-right flat out, as for an F1 car, it should be getting on a bit of the curb, just making sure that the road to the straight is as short as possible. It stays on the left side. Normally people stay on the right, but it is what it is. DRS for the longest straight of this track, then into the Lecombe chicane, right, left, and then right again. Kind of interesting on the power there. I mean, I haven't really seen anyone dip that far down on the power, but he's carried quite a lot of speed through this right-hander now. And into speed corner, I think it's called after recently being called no-name corner, but kind of taking it easy, it looks like, for Chad Swindell. I mean, we'd expect drivers of his caliber to be going around the mid 42s on the first lap, but it doesn't look like he'll be reaching that lap time at this pace unless he speeds it up in the final sector, carrying good speed for this right-left here. Easy to spin as it's a very long corner section. Then fourth gear through this right-hander, very easy to invalidate if you go too wide on that corner. Flat out through here on this right-hander. Now finally down to this final kind of straight, kind of windy section into the bus stop chicane. It's flat out left as you'd like for an F1 car, and taking a little bit of the curb on the outside and brake very late into the chicane, but also try to make the apex, and he has done just that. Third gear into fourth gear now should be, and across the line it will be a 1:42.8. So that puts him 7th place at the moment. He's going to want to improve quite a bit on this lap, this next lap here, if he wants to be anywhere near the front, because I think people behind him will improve. We have the likes of Luke Lockley or Lewis Piper still to put in their laps. Reserve driver, I believe, actually no, I think I was corrected on this last time. Reserve driver for Haas, not anymore full-time driver.
Yep.
Ultimate for Haas, and he's crossed the line 1:43.92. 1 second down on Chad Swindell, who you just on board with earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Wayden Silva who has taken the seat, full-time seat for the rest of the season here in Haas, and so he puts it at P15 at 1:43.8. We've got Luke Locklear. I think he is... Oh, he's down a little bit on his batteries, so he's completely missing out. I don't know if he forgot to turn his ARS off during the outlap, but it looks like that'll be not a very good time for him. Let's see if we can catch Lewis Piper, who is a reserve driver for Marcel Pass. So he is starting his lap currently, just out of turns 1, going through turns 2 here. So far, the fastest lap we have here is Quentin K with a 1:42.5, a little bit under 1/10 quicker than Dane Clem, his teammate, who is sitting in P2. Nathan, I think we also have Carl Behrens, team principal of Mercedes, on standby for us for quality interviews. I don't know if you have a word on when he'll be with us.
He'll be in with us right now, actually, if that's convenient for you.
Absolutely.
We'll bring Mercedes team principal Carl Behrens in for an interview tonight. How is it going, Carl Behrens?
Great, thank you. How you guys doing?
I'm doing fine myself.
Absolutely great.
Yeah. We're here at Paul. We got Cody in. Max is reserving for Hector. Hector, he's not feeling too well. I think it's just like a slight bug, like a stomach bug or something, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's true. I just spoke about reserve drivers of Lewis Piper for McLaren, but we do have Max, who's now coming out. Looks like it's already for his second lap, and he had hit a 1:44.2. I don't know if he's using his used tires just to get out there and get into them, but it's a much longer track, right, in Belgium, so you really have to time your outlaps quite well and try to see if you can maybe catch a tow. Is that something your drivers discussed possibly for using the advantage of the tow here in Belgium?
Yeah, I did hear some engineers were talking about that. I don't deal with the drivers for the D1 guys. I let them do their own thing. They know what they're doing. But yeah, this track's really long, but you also have, sometimes you just have traffic in that last sector. Like in the D2 race last night, we had cars piling up in a bus stop. But yeah, I think Max, he had a really big snap in the middle sector, and I think No Name. But yeah, so it was a very good lap from him.
Yeah, so Carl, of course the setups here will be quite low downforce, but did you have a good balance, do you feel, of downforce and just overall traction? Because if you go too low on the downforce, of course it's not going to be good in the corners. But do you think tonight the Mercedes crew has a good setup for this track?
Yeah, it's one of Cody's setups. He makes really good setups. I'm not sure on the wings, but I do believe what I can tell from the D2 and the D3 race, they are on the higher side. I know some people are running like 3-0, 3 front wing. I think we're like around 5-2, if I had to guess. So we are kind of on the higher side in the straight line, but we're looking to take it back in the corners.
That is very interesting, as we're keeping tabs on Max. They're going out, just finished his out lap. He's just gone through turn 1 and now turn 2 on his fast lap, passing by the Red Bull here. Carl, very interesting. You're not scared at all to talk about wing and aerodynamic setups for your team here. Is that just a showing of confidence and how confident you are in Cody and his setups and the way he's carrying himself in the Mercedes team so far?
Yeah, like all season, we've been always just trying to help the other teams. We've like Haas, we've helped out Haas with setups and stuff like that. But it's the D1 race. D2 and D3 already finished, and these guys already locked in their setups in Park Ferme. So I think it's a little bit too late for them to change it. But yeah, no, we've just been just trying to be helpful to the other teams.
Yeah,
Alright.
so with here I'll go here. So with Chad Swindell, of course, kind of creeping up on the championship. Has Cody expressed any like, nervous feelings, or has he just said like, I think I'm confident enough to just do what I do best? Do you think he has any worries about Chad Swindell tonight?
I'm sure he is. Cody is. He does kind of get a little nervous in qualifying and stuff like that. But I think if the season wasn't shortened, it was shortened, I believe, by 3 races.
Yeah.
Then I feel like there'd be like more of a threat. There still is a threat. We can't just like let our foot off the gas. There's still a lot of points to fight for, and it's a very close championship right now with Red Bull. I think it's, as of last night, depending on verdicts, maybe like a 5-point split between the two teams. So yeah, everything counts.
Really interesting. Max just crossed the finishing line and pierced the top 10 here with 143.008. So he's just at the doorstep of being in the 142s here. So for the reserve driver, that is great. Last question for you, Carl, before we let you go. You're talking about Cody feeling maybe a little bit menaced by the other drivers here. What are your expectations for him this race? We know last week or 2 weeks ago we spoke to him. He didn't feel very comfortable, or wasn't one of his favorite tracks being in Abu Dhabi. I know for a fact Belgium is one of his better tracks for him. So are we to expect a minimum of a top 3 here if there's no unlucky incidents?
Yeah, I mean, Cody. Cody always he may not be the fastest guy that week, but he's always like top 3 every week. That's like his superpower, I guess. This track, he does feel very good about it. He did he's happy with his times he's been doing in qualifying and in time trial before the race. So I'm a win possible, but I think a definite top 3 would be it's his target. But you know him.
Yeah, most definitely. Oh, and as we just seen him have a little bit of a moment there, out of just at the entry of turn 10 after the Lecomb's chicane there. So I think he's going to drop his fast lap and head towards the pits. Carl Barons, team principal of Mercedes, thank you for being here with us. We might poke you another time during the race here. We're going to keep on ahead with the qualifying. Thank you again.
No worries. Thank you. Have a good one.
Really good insight from the team principal at Mercedes, Nathan. Real quick rundown of our current standings here for the Division 1 drivers. Quentin K is still in the provisional poll. Oh, and he's not anymore as I'm saying this. Chad Swindell with a 142.1, just about 2/10 above Quentin K. So here he goes and takes provisional pole with just a little over 4 minutes to go into qualifying. I'm sure he's going to have enough time to go back in the pits, do the switch, and go back out for a fast lap. So Chad Swindell with a 142.1 in P1. Quentin K, who's currently on a fast lap, so that might change real soon. 142.3 in P2. Eric Cavallo, who's been on a roll lately within the last couple laps, also on a fast lap at 142.5. And 1/1000th of a second after him, it's Maxime Beaulieu in P4, and that is one of the better times, the better performances already we've seen from him in qualifying after having a couple difficult races here. The Aston Martin driver here is really pulling a great time. Luke Locklear in P5, the temporary team principal, as you mentioned earlier, Nathan. So Luke Locklear with 142.59, a little 200 behind Maxime Beaulieu. Dane Clem dropped to P6. He's still in the pits. Ryan Newton in the Williams is in the P7. Cody Lawrence dropping to P8, unfortunately, because he messed up his lap earlier. He's going to have to go out again in a minute. Kyle Blevins, who's I think it was in Belgium where he claimed all his wins from Division 3, 2, and 1 a couple seasons back. He is in the top 10. That's putting him P9 at about 142.7. Marc-Olivier Basset, P10. And the bottom 10 is Aaron Altmaier, Philippe Mogoulet, Major Castman reserving for Peter Giordano. I don't know if he's reserving or if it's another full-time seat. We've seen Major Castman in and out of Division 1 with multiple teams throughout the season, so I'm not really sure what's up with him. Lewis Piper P14, Max in P15, Logan Dukes, the other McLaren full-time driver in P16, Camborne P17, Magnussen Cube P18, Wade Silva, the newly appointed full-time seat for Haas, P19, and Duncan McCamick, who I don't think has put in a reasonable time for his skills so far, is a 144.4, so looks like he had a bit of a slow lap, is reserving for Jakub Karsuich. So we're 2 minutes 40 to go. Given the lap times and how long it goes, we're already seeing a couple drivers going out, Nathan, and they're going to be on the warm-up laps for their final, and the very first one on that list is Cody Lawrence, who messed up his lap earlier, and he's going to be wanting to go on an absolute banger right now.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure we both saw that moment that he had through this section here. Just getting on the power quite a bit early, and through this corner, the rear end just did not want to stick with him. Very easy corner to mess up, but Cody Lawrence, if he wants to do anything special tonight, he's going to have to get through that corner nice and clean. Yeah, I want to go back to that Aston Martin thing. I mean, Maxime Williot, of course, his best performance in qualifying as it stands so far. Since I joined the team quite recently, I wouldn't say it's because of me, of course, but team morale has seemed to have been going up quite a bit because in the team there is, I mean, obviously we know that Maxime Williot has not been having too good performance. Aaron Altmaier was talking to me joking, saying, I hope he was joking anyway, but that he's bottling on purpose. But yeah, I think team morale has been going up here, so that will improve these drivers. Just pace overall, I'd say. Then Aaron Altmaier on his outlap as well in 11th place. I think he can do a bit better than that. He's talking to me. I think he said his benchmark was around 142.4, so definitely good to put him up quite high. But the track evolves quite a lot, so these drivers will all have presumably pretty good increases on their time. And yeah, so we'll go on board with Cody Lawrence here. I'll take you through it here. And as it goes into turn 1, he'll have a bit more grip than he did before into 4th gear, 3rd gear now, and he's went quite deep on that apex wall, but he got on the power early enough where it was okay. And he's going through the famous section, of course, flat out, trying not to get onto this right-hand curb because it can spin you quite easily if you don't have the setup to take it. Takes it very nicely into the DRS. He does hang right into the middle now, and now to the left. As I said before, let's see if he improves at all on his time previously, and he does by almost 1/10 of a second. He goes a bit deep through that right-hander, takes the left-hander nicely, and through this right-hander, can he make it stick? Yes, he can. Bit shaky from the Mercedes still, but down through this tricky braking zone, very easy to lock up, and it looks like he did a little bit, but not enough to stop him or from doing a good time. Through the no-name corner now and out of it and into Puan. It's very, very easy to spin on this corner if you take the left curb, but he doesn't. 7th gear all the way around. He goes through Puan very nicely into this right-left chicane here. Is going to be very easy to spin, but I don't think he will if it's Cody Lawrence we're talking about here. Very nicely through, taking quite a bit of curb on the inside, but as he should, through the right-hander now. 5th gear, taking more inside curb. Flat out through here. As always, I don't think it'll be flat out for the race, that corner though, so keep an eye on that. And through the final straight of this track. The lap time should be hopefully improved enough where it could pop him into the top 4. But will it do just that? We'll see in a moment as you go through the bus stop chicane now. The 3rd gear, through the left now, 4th gear, and now he's going down to the line. Now, will it be a good improvement for the Mercedes driver? Yes, it will. 3rd place as it stands for now, but lots of drivers behind him. To take 2nd place has retrograde and just done. Haas across the line now. Is that Eric Cavaglia? No, it's his teammate, Ultimate Waden. And then the Mercedes teammate of Max here. Across the line, it is a 142.9 14th at the moment. I think that's a Williams across the line. Who was that? Luke Locklear going 2nd place, jumping both of the Alpines. Not good enough for Cam Bourne to do anything, but Ryan Newton, his teammate, has done something amazing across the line. Aaron Altmaier goes 9th fastest. Bastian goes 7th fastest. Soon across the line, I think we had Kyle Blevins go 6th fastest there. Across the line now, the McLaren of Lewis Piper only 15th, and the AlphaTauri behind him only 18th. Then Phil Mangoulet goes 12th. Then we have McLaren and Haas across the line now.
Both McLarens invalidated their laps, so that doesn't bring them any higher up. And the last driver to go through, well, it's normally Maxime Beaulieu, but he's going in the pits. Chad Swindell improves on his time for the pole position of 142.0. Nathan, that is the end of our qualifying. While we were going through Cody's lap, I was kind of viewing other drivers. We saw Maxime Beaulieu kind of retiring early on his fast lap, after having an issue, I think, in turn 1, and we just see him retiring from the session as well. And a lot of drivers ended up doing their lap in dirty air. Everyone got kind of bunched up at the bus stop chicane and lost it in dirty air. And so your drivers out of the qualifying, it is Chad Swindell with a rather dominant performance in qualifying here with a 142.0. Luke Loughlin P2, Dane Clement P3, Ryan Newton, Quinton K, Kyle Blevins, a great performance for him in P6. Eric Cavello, a little bit disappointing in P7, as is Cody Lawrence in P8, Marc-Olivier Bastien P9, Maxime Beaulieu and his teammate Aaron Altmaier are respectively P10 and P11. Philippe Mogoulet P12, Major Castman in 13 with the Ferrari, Mercedes P14 with Max, Lewis Piper, and Logan Dukes, both teammates 15 and 16. Cam Bourne and the Williams 17, Magnussen Cube 18, and a Red Bull of Duncan McCamick is 19. And to finish up this grid, it is Wade and Silva, who is at the back of the pack in P20. Ladies and gents, if you've not liked and subscribed, go ahead and do it right now. Nathan, it is time for me to have an adult beverage over here. And if you're as young as Nathan, it is time to dunk your cookies in your milk.
I don't know if you heard that, but I did open a Coke Zero, so I'll have that drink with you here. Definitely not alcoholic because I don't support that type of stuff. As always, we have the T-posing mechanics ready to put on some tires for the cars and let them have their race on the way. We'll have about 45 seconds, I'd say, to the start of the race. Inside line goes to pole position, so Chad Swindell will be starting on the inside line. Hopefully he doesn't get jumped, because if he has someone going around the outside, that person who goes around the outside could have the advantage across the entire straight if they get a good exit.
Yeah.
So Chad Swindell will be looking to get the start of his life. Some people starting on mediums, I think we saw last night. But main strategy, as always, will be hard to medium. So we'll see in a little bit what the tire strategy just is. Any final words before the start of the race?
Well, I was just gonna say, turn 1 is gonna be really important here, and I think because it's such a tight corner, the accordion effect, as we like to call it, is gonna be rather intense, and we might have some incidents. But Division 1 has seen very, very clean starts to races where you'd expect it to be a little bit hectic. And here we go. We've got dry weather. The lights are red, and we're about to get underway here. The Belgium Grand Prix is underway. Chad Swindell gets a decent start here, and so does Luke Lockley. Luke Lockley gets jumped by Dane Clement, the Alpine, and they go, and Luke Lockley goes a little bit wide and has to push Ryan Newton just about on the edge. Oh, and there's an Alfa Romeo in the back who's completely lost it. Kyle Blevins has been pushed out. Will we have a safety car? Yes, we do. Kyle Blevins is out of the race. He's been completely smacked. Oh, that is so unfortunate for the AlphaTauri driver. Philippe Mogoulet was the Alfa Romeo driver being seen spinning around, and we have, it looks like actually a virtual safety car, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, with the car on the racing line just absolutely destroyed, you'd expect a bit more. Some passing going on. Now it's fixed.
Wow.
Duncan McCamick only 16, but yeah, what a race start we had. We saw Quinton K spinning around, and he was just stuck there. There's no place that he could rejoin, and it dropped him all the way down to 18th. Of course, we also saw Philippe Mogoulet drop down to 19th place, but we'll go back to the race start here. We had major winners here, such as X-Max and Lewis Piper, but also something to note, Luke Locklear did get jumped on the start, and now the Alpine teammate who's trying to recover the points lost from Quinton K spinning around, Retrograde, is now in second place. And that will be amazing for the Alpine team. Virtual safety car here. All the pack is now bunched up again. So we'll probably see it end quite soon. I'm still surprised that wasn't a full safety car.
That should have been a full safety car. Kyle Blevins his car had lost its wheel completely right on the racing line. And we're back to racing again. So that didn't last very long. Chad Swindell is going to try to have the jump here on Dane Clem. And Cody Lawrence, who's actually gained 4 positions so far, is in P4. We're going to take a look at their tire advantages. Everybody's on hards except for 2 medium runners. Cam Bourne, we've seen him do that a couple times. And Duncan McCamick reserving in the Red Bull, currently in P16. And so there's
battle for the lead here.
Yeah, there's definitely a fight. Dane Clem is pushing it on Chad Swindell here, and Locklear caught his Ferrari, who had a little bit of a wiggle there on the rear. And here they go on turn 1. Seems to be clean so far. That is, so far, besides that incident, a decently clean race, but a lot of changes, a lot of jumps that have been given for the other racers. And look at Dane Clem. I think he's just got a higher top end speed, and he is very aggressive over there. Look at it going on the Kemmel Straight on the left hand side of Chad Swindell. Will he take the lead? He looks like he's going onto the inside. Swindell's going to slot himself right behind him, and Dane Clem, the Alpine driver, goes for the lead in front of the Red Bull. What a move, and what great top speed. And I think I'm looking so far at the ERS. Yeah, look at Swindell. His ERS was barely touched, so I think he's just waiting for the ERS effect to maybe claim his position back. But so far, Dane Clegg has gone from P3 to P1 in 2 laps, and Cody Lawrence is not far behind in P4. He's gained 4 positions so far, and his teammate in the other Mercedes has gained 7 positions. So Carl Barron so far absolutely happy with the performance of his Mercedes. And there's a car around, and who is that in the back? I'm seeing Lewis Piper dropping,
no,
and there's another car that's done.
Maxime, no.
It is Maxime Beaulieu. Maxime Beaulieu's in the wall, and he's completely out, and there's Cam Bourne in there with him. Are we having another virtual safety car? It's not a full safety car.
Oh man, I saw that all
Wow.
unravel. We had, I think it was Eric Cavallio and yeah, Lewis Piper. They got into a tangle through Pouan, and then right after Pouan, there was a huge incident between Camborne and Maxime Beaulieu. I don't think Camborne has lost anything on his front wing, so that will be fine for the Williams driver. But absolute carnage from Division 1, and still no full safety car. So
I'm shocked.
maybe that's just something to do with the game, but I am also shocked as you are. DRS
We're
enabled,
back.
and we're already going green once again. Luke Locklear a bit closer to Chad Swindell than Swindell is closer to Dane Clem. Will we see a move for Luke Locklear? I mean, we've seen tangles between Luke Locklear and Red Bulls in the past. Will we see that once again today? Onto the battery goes Luke Locklear. He's gaining quite a bit. Will Chad Swindell go onto the battery to combat that? Yes, he will, but will it matter enough? Because he's not in the DRS, but Luke Locklear is. He's going down the inside now. Will he make the move before the corner? Yes, he will. Luke Locklear in to P2, onto the chase for Dane Clem tonight.
Really interesting. Chad Swindell barely used the ERS to defend himself, so it looks like he's just going to play the waiting game here so far, and that is 2 positions lost for him. But what a move, and what an important position gain here for the Ferrari driver. I think Ferrari in Division 1 has had a couple races of bad luck, and speaking of bad luck, we lost 2 top 10 drivers, if I'm not mistaken. Maxime Beaulieu was having a great qualifying, and so was Kyle Blevins. 2 drivers who really like Spa, and we've just lost both of them to early race incidents, both of them being tangled with other drivers. So I think stewards will have to look at those incidents as well. Expect post-race penalties to be given. Dane Clem still in the lead and has actually gotten himself out of the DRS range from Luke Locklear, although Luke Locklear is going to try to gain within that 1 second interval. Swindell is now on the battery trying to maybe gain the position back, and there's another sector flag in the back. Is that another driver who we've lost? It looks like it's Wayden Silva who's lost control of his car at some point, and he's back on track. Doesn't look like major damage though, so I don't think or any damage at all, so I think he'll be able to continue racing without having to go onto the pit road. So far, Dane Clem, who posts the fastest lap for now in this race, followed by Luke Locklear, Chad Swindell, Cody Lawrence, who we're used to seeing Cody being a lot more gentle on the battery, but he's a lot more aggressive, and I think the word's out that Chad Swindell maybe doesn't use his battery a lot for defense, or doesn't have the top end speed, and so we're going to see Cody Lawrence trying to go for him once again. There's a sector flag, and it is Cam Bourne and the Williams who lost it just coming out of campus in turns 14 and 15, and so that'll be another driver in the back of the pack. And so far Cody decides to be a lot more conservative. I'm looking at the Ferrari in front right now. Chad Swindell is all over the rear of the Ferrari. Is it me, Nathan, or does that Ferrari looks like the rear is a little bit loosey-goosey for Luke Locklear?
I mean, I know Ferrari did go quite low on their aerodynamics for this one, so maybe just a little bit loosey-goosey, as you say. Dirty air shouldn't be affecting him too much, but maybe he's just getting on the wrong line. If you find yourself on that wrong line, I think it can affect the race dramatically, because, you know, he goes a bit wide again, but he's had a bit of a moment again. Has he maybe messed something up with the setup? I'm not too sure. Major Castleman now, I'm sure, is in charge of the setups. But at the moment, it's not like a fun car to drive for Luke Locklear, having moments all around the track. But so far, he's still in second place, losing quite a lot of time, though, and using a bunch of his battery. So not going too well for Luke Locklear. And it seems, even though Luke went on the battery, Swindell actually gained on the straight. So interesting to see that the Ferrari is struggling with things like that. If they went for, I don't know, I don't know what I'm saying now, because if they went for a lowdown for a setup and that's making him loosey goosey, then that would make sense, of course. But at the same time, he's losing time on the straights. So what is the case with Luke Locklear? It's a bit of a mystery at the moment.
Yeah, really interesting, but maybe it could be just the way he's really pushing the Ferrari to the very limits. We're looking at one of our biggest gains here so far in this race. Duncan McCamick, who started P19. Look at him go. He's the leader of the pack for the second DRS trade. Just a bit of a broken bits and pieces between the P2 and P9 here, but Duncan McCamick has got his Red Bull up to P10, which starting from P9 already in 5 laps. Obviously, he's taking advantage of some incidents over there. But that is great showing for him. Also worth noting, he's on the medium tire, so he has to gain a lot of positions. And I forget who's the other driver with mediums. It was, I think it was Cam Bourne, but he looks like he's pitted for fresh hards. And Major Castleman and Philippe Mogulay are also on mediums already since the incidents from the early 2 laps. So far, we're seeing some drivers are going to be forced to go on 2-stoppers, most probably. I highly doubt Cam Bourne's going to bring it all the way home on the hards, and even less, I mean, absolutely not for the mediums of the Major Castleman and Philippe Mogulay.
Yeah, I think a fight that we need to focus on right now is Swindell and Locklear, because at the moment, like if we look on this straight here, Red Bull is absolutely dominating the Ferrari on the straights at the moment. I think Luke will go on the battery a little bit. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. But Swindell will gain quite a bit of time here. He's gained about half a tenth. He might even gain a full tenth. So as we go down the Kemmel Straight, the Red Bull will have DRS and a huge ERS advantage. So maybe we will see an overtake made by the Red Bull, unless Chad Swindell wants to be a bit conservative. And he does have that right, because someone spun around. Yeah, that's Cam Bourne all the way in the back now. But yeah, let's go on board with Chad Swindell here. He's about 5/10 behind. He's going on the battery quite early, so I think that will show us that he does have the intention for an overtake here. I don't know what it is, but he just looks so much faster through Erosion Radion, and that has been very clear because he has gained 2/10, and now he's creeping up to the back of that Ferrari. But at the moment, it looks like he will not look for the overtake. Maybe try to get Luke Locklear to go into defensive position, but Duncan McCamick has spun around in Rouge and Radion. Has he lost any part of his car? No, he hasn't. But spinning through that section, did he have any insight on that? Was there contact?
I don't know if there was. Looks like there may have been, because he was at the lead of a pack, and maybe a driver got up behind him. Now we've got 2 drivers already with time penalties, which is Eric Cavallo and Cam Bourne, who just got one. I was going to say Philippe Mogulay, actually. So yeah, 3 drivers already with time penalties. So these drivers are pushing it all out. We just saw Red Bull spinning around, and Eric Cavallo being I would say only P10 is maybe a little bit surprising, and Cam Bourne gets himself a 5-second penalty that looks like a retirement in the pits, and it is. He was not having a good time whatsoever. When I told you guys in on my introduction to this race that it brings out the best and the worst of the drivers, well, in this case, it is the worst of Cam Bourne that we've seen so far, and we're going to see more of that from other drivers who are struggling to stay within the track limits. Add Max and the Mercedes to that list. Other drivers so far, and we're seeing Chad Swindell, who's just creeping up on the Ferrari. He's going to go for the inside line on the bus stop chicane. Yes, he does, and covers off the possible switcheroo there, the switchback from Luke Locklear, and Luke doesn't have the proper speed to catch up to him. On top of that, Chad gets the DRS, and so that is a position gain for him. I don't know if the timing of that position was... if that gain was the best moment, because now Luke is going to have DRS on him on the Red Bull. So on board we go with the Ferrari, who's got the Mercedes driver of Cody Lawrence right up on his rear. And now he's going to have both ERS and DRS to try to make the overtake happen again. Here we go, side by side with the Red Bull, and I think he's going to have plenty of space here. And he does, and it definitely looks, it looks like he's... made the position and made it clean through Lacombe's chicane, and that is Luke Locklear regaining P2 position, being patient with Chad Swindell, not battling him too hard on the bus stop chicane earlier on. And so far, even though they were battling, I'm surprised to not have seen Cody Lawrence being a little bit more aggressive on those kind of positions where he could have gained. And potentially, we talked about Chad Swindell now basically being the main adversary for Cody Lawrence for the championship. Oh, there's a moment for Chad Swindell who almost loses it. Now Cody Lawrence might be able to gain take advantage of this situation. He's all over his rear, so I don't know if Chad Swindel's feeling under pressure, but the Mercedes driver definitely is going to have a moment here to maybe make a move. It all depends on the top speed from that Red Bull, who's really working his battery well so far. He's probably one of the drivers who got the highest percentage of batteries because of that top speed. Really interesting to see from Chad Swindell.
Yeah, I mean, with this kind of battle between Luke Locklear and Chad Swindell, it's interesting because, you know, I think Luke was kind of mad that he got re-overtaken by Chad Swindell, and now he's used that kind of anger to get past, and now get passed by quite a bit. I don't know if Chad Swindell goes for an overtake on Luke Locklear. I think we might see an incident possibly, but I don't want to jinx it for the moment. Chad going on the battery, does that maybe show us that he's going for an overtake once again? 4-ish tenths behind the Ferrari. Again, very much quicker through Erosion Radion, but he's going to go side by side, surely, from the Ferrari down the inside line. Ferrari is blinking on the battery. Chad Swindell does re-overtake Luke Locklear for second place. Now Cody Lawrence is looking to see if he can get anything, but he does have a moment through the chicane, so he will not be partaking in this battle. But it looks like Chad Swindell will stay ahead of Luke Locklear for now. But the thing is, they haven't really lost too much time to retrograde from fighting, so very interesting to see that the two drivers, through all their scraps, have still gained time on the Alpine driver in the lead, and quite comfortably in the lead. The moment 6th gear for both cars into Puan, so they're kind of on the same concept right now, other than the fact that the setups are quite different. The Ferrari running probably just lower downforce, but with the battery advantage and the DRS, of course, and just the overall stability of that Red Bull, that is what brought Chad Swindell quicker and past Luke Locklear. And Luke Locklear is actually dropping back quite a bit already, dumping a bit more battery just to try and stay with Chad Swindell. But at this rate, he's not even going to be thinking about an overtake on the Red Bull because it's just so out of reach right now. And now Cody Lawrence behind him with the battery advantage. I think we could see a fight between these two quite soon.
Yeah, he's used up so much battery defending his position and battling for P2, and he's done great at doing so. But at the end of the day, if he falls out of the RS zone from the Red Bull, and I think that's what's Chad Swindell's objective here, it is. His engineer's probably telling him that the Ferrari is very low on ERS, and Cody Lawrence is going to be waiting for the opportunity to pounce here. He's on the battery here, just coming up to Radio and Rouge, going up the hill. He's about to go, but look at that difference in distance already between him and Luke Locklear. However, with almost no DRS, you see the blinking light from the Ferrari. He's only got DRS to help him out. DRS is not really helping him that much. He's got to harvest it. And I think Cody Lawrence is going to wait for the proper moment for when Luke Locklear gets out of the 1 seconds from Chad Swindell, and that'll be the moment he'll make his move. So Locklear is looking more behind him than he is looking forward, unless Chad's got a moment. And as you've mentioned, I don't know if the Clem's starting to feel a little bit of pressure here, but Chad Swindell's gained nearly 5/10 since the beginning of this lap. They were at 1.6 seconds away not so long ago, and now the Red Bull's at 1.1, and look at that time dwindling down. He's at 1.0. He's just about to get into the DRS zone, so he might, by the end of this, by the beginning of the next lap, be in DRS zone to the race leader. So we might see the Red Bull fighting for the race lead. It looks like he just turned on some really good speed there, because look at him go. And Luke Locklear at the end of it, right behind him, he's completely losing time. He's at 1.2, 1.3 seconds away from him. There's a sector yellow flag, and that is, it's Philippe Goulet who's lost it again. I don't know if he's got some wing damage. He looks clean, but not the return to the race that we want to see from him so far. Back to the race lead, as that's the main part of our story tonight. Swindell in the DRS of Dane Clem, and that happened really, really quickly. Well, I don't know if the Alpine had a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a spin that we kind of ignored since he's so far in the lead. And who are we seeing in the pits? It is Eric Cavallo. Now, Eric Cavallo is the first driver in the pits going for hards. Now, I don't know if he had an incident and he's going to change for a new wing as well. Let's just keep an eye on that. Doesn't look like it so far. So what do you think of that? An early pit stopper for Eric Cavallo going out to the mediums.
Undercut is good, but onto the mediums at this rate, I don't know if that's good. But Cody Lawrence has actually made it past Luke Locklear,
Yep.
and now Luke will maybe try to fight it back. I don't think he has the pace to at the moment. And there goes the Mercedes into third place, now chasing after our main man for tonight, as always, Chad Swindell. And I have to say, that is the retirement for Philippe Goulet in the pits and a spin from Logan Dukes in the chicane. But anyways, as I was saying, so that is no showing of like any moment from the Alpine. This is just pure pace from Chad Swindell because as he was gaining on retrograde, he was also gaining on Luke Locklear. So that shows that both cars ahead of front were slower than him, and I think that just says that he has amazing pace at the moment. He gained 5 tenths in 5 corners. So this is really just about how stable that Red Bull is and how good of a driver Chad Swindell is. He getting on the power so early. It's crazy to see him just climb through these gears and get on the power so early. I mean, 6 tenths now from what was 1.6 seconds 2 laps ago is just absolutely incredible. I know the lap is long, but I don't think it's long enough to be gaining that much time just like that. But for Chad, it is, and he has a bit of a moment out of the final corner. Doesn't really stop him too much. We have Luke Locklear and Marc-Aurélien Bastien into the pits. So we'll see some strategy now as X-Max also goes into the pits. So quite a few pitters today. But now we have Chad Swindell. He could be looking at the lead of the race here, honestly. In this straight, I would not be surprised at all. But at the moment, still he's gained on every car ahead of him through that little Rouge and Radion section. So that is, I don't know what to even put that down as. That could be set up. We're just picking the right line. But Chad Swindell down to 4 tenths now. If he can keep it through the corners, that same margin, I think he'll be doing great. And it looks like he's actually gained on that margin even more. So great job from the Red Bull driver right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed back in the Camel Shade watching Chad Swindell, looks like clouds are starting to cover the track up a little bit more. So we might be seeing overcast conditions. They didn't get a full report on weather yet. I don't know, Nathan, if we're looking at potential rain until the end of the race. If you have that information, maybe keep up tabs on that.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally missed the question. I kind of spaced out there. I was looking at the clouds here.
Yeah.
Actually, that are looking a bit darker, but I've been told by none other than Labib himself that this race will be a full dry situation. Yeah, through the telemetry, which is almost always accurate as far as I know. Yeah, we'll have a full dry race, but the track will be a bit colder now. But I don't think that will affect race laps, like lap times at all. But now we'll go back to Chad Swindell, of course, because this is the man that we've been talking about for the entire hour, pretty much. I mean, like Red Bull in real life, he's just got the pace of that Red Bull substantially quicker than, I want to say, every other driver around him right now, as Cody Lawrence and Ryan Newman both jump into the pits. We'll have a few more pitters, I think. Yeah, that's Alpine of Quentin K into the pits. But he's lost a bit. He's actually lost quite a bit in turn 1 exit. So he will not be looking at a move for the lead whatsoever in this section here. Does take a bit of a different line than he normally does in through that section. But yeah, he'll keep around 7 tenths right now. Eric Cavallo with the fastest lap of 1:44.709 on the medium tires. I think he was the first driver to pit onto the medium tires. As far as I'm concerned, though, I didn't know where he started, but he has not gained any positions as far as I know. Would you have any information on that?
I think it was P10 when he started, so there he goes. Luke Locklear is actually trying to make up a position back on Cody Lawrence down into the Lecombe chicane. Will he be able to make this move stick? It doesn't appear to happen. They were side by side for a moment, but Cody Lawrence got on the brakes just a little bit later than Luke Locklear to conserve the position. Right now, the only drivers left out on the track who have not pitted from their hard tires, obviously with Dane Clem and Chad Swindell fighting it out right now. We've got Aaron Allmeyer, who's also not pitted yet. Lewis Piper with his 3-second time penalty is going to hurt him as well. Magnussen Cuba, we haven't spoken about those drivers, and I'm talking about time penalties. Lewis Piper just gained another one, so let's just quickly look here at the penalties. We're at 6 seconds for Lewis Piper. Eric Cavallo, Max, Logan Dukes, and Duncan McCamick also have 3-second penalties so far. It looks like Dane Clem starting to maybe pull away a little bit more from Chad Swindell. Both drivers are going to the pits, so we're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned pit race over here. Let's see if one of the pit crews are able to do the job a little quicker than one and the other. The Red Bull mechanics pulling it on. There you go. That is on for him and is on for Dane Clem. Now it's all about warming up those tires. Is there anybody that's going to overtake them, or are they going to stay in the lead? Looks like the drivers behind them also pit for the fresh mediums. They intend to go 9 laps on the mediums here. In the back, you can see Cody Lawrence going around turns 3. Oh, and he's got some good top end speed there. He's gonna go after Chad Swindell. Look at the Alpine, way ahead. I don't know if Chad went too hard on the gas there, but he's left himself vulnerable to the Mercedes, and Cody Lawrence is going for it as much as he can. And is he gonna go for it? Nathan, I'm astounded by the top end speed of that Red Bull, because Chad Swindell, I'm not even sure he even touched his battery.
He didn't. But he has Luke Locklear alongside him now through this hairpin here. What a move this would be from the Ferrari driver, and it has been made.
It work.
Yeah, horrible pit stop from the Red Bull driver, but he's got more battery than both of the two He's got more battery than all of the 3 drivers ahead of him combined. So I think we'll see a huge advantage for the Red Bull. As you said, that top end speed is really, really big compared to the drivers around him. Did not touch his battery once on that straight, and still just barely got overtaken by Cody Lawrence. And he's had just barely a moment. Is he going to spin? No, he's not. But he has lost multiple positions. Just not the right stint for him so far. But that was very, very close to being into the wall or just around in general. Back onto the battery now, because he knows that he has to use it, and still I think he has more battery than now 5 drivers ahead of him combined. I think I would be right on that, but Chad Swindell, he's had absolutely a horrible first lap of his medium stint. Surely they're up to temperature now, so we will be looking to see a comeback drive from the Red Bull driver here. And we've actually seen Cody Lawrence, this was a huge overtake that he made for P2, because Chad Swindell was easily his biggest rival going into this race here, and now he's found his rival in P6 and himself in P2, 2 seconds behind Dane Clem though, so maybe a bit questionable if he'll be getting the race lead. But I don't know how much I can rely on Labib right now, because still, even though he did say full drive for both the qualifying and the race, it does look like it's going to be getting a bit gloomier here. And with the track with such high elevation as Spa, I think it's going to be quite easy to see. We could see some rain here today.
Yeah, and with the early incidents we had this race, and we already have 4 drivers, or 14 laps in, and 4 drivers have DNF, 2 of them in the pits, 2 from incidents in the first 2 laps of the race. We'd expect to see safety cars, right? And sometimes a safety car could make the race just last a little bit longer. That, instead of being at the just at the doorstep of having our first raindrops, well, maybe the raindrops appear in the final moments of the race. And we've seen in the past here in ZRL, with 2 laps to go, it starts a mega downpour, and that suddenly changes everything for the race. And speaking of changing everything for the race, it is Duncan McCamick who spun his car and put himself P16, dead last with the remaining cars on track. Back to Chad Swindell, I'm thinking, maybe he had a moment, or the moments he had trying to gain temperature on his medium tires, as he's going side by side with Marc-Olivier. Oh, he pushes Marc-Olivier just a little bit off track, and he gains a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure that's going to be looked at given the situation here. But yeah, Chad's on the side by side, and just at the Blanchimont there, and turn 18, and Alfa Romeo driver kind of had to go off track to avoid an incident here. And we're seeing Chad Swindell being a lot more aggressive. As you said, his tires are now up to temp, and I think potentially the weather affected some of these drivers' out laps and warm-up laps for the tires to really activate themselves. And right now we're looking at a Marc-Olivier Bassin who looks totally ripe for the picking here, and that's going to be it for Chad Swindell, who's going to take the position. But up front, it's also Luke Locklear, who was overtaken by Ryan Newton. Ryan Newton and the Williams drivers absolutely used all his ERS to do that move. A driver who's known to be very offensive and being able to make some overtakes, and he's making it work for him so far. Ryan Newton started, let me just check real quick. He started P4, and now he's up in the podium positions. Luke Locklear has lost 2 positions so far. Every driver so far is on medium tires. Presumably, if there's no weather change, until the very end of the race.
I mean, he's came out of nowhere, hasn't he, Ryan Newton? I mean, just, seemed to work out for him perfectly, and now he's made it past Luke Locklear. He's got Cody Lawrence to chase now. I mean, on his day, I'm sure Ryan Newton can be faster than Cody Lawrence, but at the moment, it's just been, I don't want to say lucky, because he has earned his place as he has, but it's been kind of lucky for Ryan Newton. He's had moments ahead of him. He's had, Chad Swindell, of course, the main man of this night, almost have a spin around. but now he's got almost no battery, and he's got Luke Locklear behind him. And I've kind of seen a dangerous situation potentially with now Chad Sundell with more battery behind Luke Locklear, and we've seen that these two can definitely go wheel to wheel. Hopefully, they can just keep it respectful. And yeah, Ryan Newton actually is closing down on Cody Lawrence quite a bit. I kind of want to see the top end speed of this Williams here, because I know that in real life they've been one of the fastest on the straights, but obviously that doesn't translate to this league. On the battery, it looks like he'll hit about 202, 203 as he has. I didn't really catch Cody Lawrence's speed there, but a bit of a battle. Oh no, and Marc-Olivier Bastien has spun in his battle with Eric Cavallo, and I do believe there is contact, so we will potentially be seeing a ticket from that. The Alfa Romeo has spun around and now finds himself in 10th place with lots more ground to climb ahead of him now.
Cavallo, who had started P7, is now gained a position and is now in 6th. And that's not the first time we've seen an incident between him and Marc-Olivier Bastien, so that may have to be looked at later on by the stewards. It looks like the darkest of the clouds have passed, and we're seeing a little bit of sunshine peek out through these overcast conditions. I don't know if it's just this specific section of the track, but so far it is what it is. Luke Locklear is going to have to be careful, because right behind him he's got a angry Red Bull coming at him full speed. And here we go, Chad Swindell into turns 17 and 18 at Blanchimont. He tried going on the inside here at the Alfa Romeo earlier. He's not going to do it so on the Ferrari. He's going to go for a dive bomb down into the bus stop chicane. Locklear looks like he's defending his position right, and Swindell's probably going to wait maybe for the camel straight to do a move. Depending on Luke Locklear's, if he could get on the gas cleanly over here, and so far he does. Into turn 1 they go, and right on the edge of the gearbox is the Red Bull driver at there, and Locklear gets a better start off that, better throttle off that corner. And again, look at this, going up through the Red Zone Eau Rouge. Oh, he's just on the edge of him, and Locklear's gonna have no choice but to concede. Swindell is on the DRS, on the ERS, and we're careful up behind. We've got Eric Cavallo, who's gonna try it all as well. He was catching up to both those drivers, but looks like he ran out of time to make it up to Luke Locklear. So he's on the move with 5 laps to go so far. And Chad Swindell, who's lost many positions since he's gotten through the pit stops, switching to those medium tires after going on a longer stint with the hards. Well, he's now he's lost like 6 positions. Well, he's gained a couple back, and he's started from and he had started P1, so he's P4 currently, and that's for a net loss of 3 positions. So far, I think our biggest winner on track, and for the most important positions, once again, Cody Lawrence. We talked with Car Barons earlier in the qualifying. We expected this guy to be in the top 3, and so far he is delivering. But Dane Clem in the Alpine, talk about delivery. Defending himself from a Red Bull driver, now defending from Cody Lawrence. Cody's struggling a little bit to get under the 2-second mark. So far, it's been between 1.8 and 2 seconds, the distance between Dane Clem and Cody Lawrence. And I think the Alpine driver is showing really good pace and potential.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Alpine is just going so well right now. I mean, Quentin Kay, a driver who's been doing quite well all season long, and he's just been, finding himself in positions where he's been off, and so is Lewis Piper now with damage to his front right end plate, so that might be the end of the race for the McLaren driver. If he does decide to retire in the pits at the moment, he's just going to find himself all the way back in 15th, and he does go into the pits. We may see a retirement from there, and he does. Will we see any overtakes down the Kemmel Straight? Yes, we will, and it's Eric Cavallo on Luke Locklear going down the inside. He'll have the move done before the corner quite easily. I mean, Luke Locklear, without the battery advantage that he had so long ago, is just, he's seen those positions lose out, but now he has to focus on staying within 3 seconds of Eric Cavallo, because he does have that penalty that will drop him down quite a bit. We'll go back to Chad Swindell now. He's kind of just found himself in P4 once again. I mean, I think he does have the pace to overtake both these cars ahead of him, but with the DRS train kind of starting to form here with Ryan Newton, it's going to be very hard to overtake the Williams driver now, especially because it's Ryan Newton. He's had podium potential. He's got on the podium last week, I think, and he's just easily had the pace to be up here all the time along, but so have all the drivers around him. now he doesn't really have to worry about some of those drivers anymore. So far, it looks like a very straightforward race for Dane Clem. He's been saving his battery for quite a little bit. Cody Lawrence with about 20% below him at the moment. Ryan Newton is also around actually 3% now, so maybe a bit of a disadvantage for the Williams driver. I did see though that compared to the Red Bull, he is definitely slower in a straight line than well, the Red Bull. So we'll see if he can do anything on this lap. He looks to be about 6/10 behind. He's going back on the battery now. With the DRS advantage, I don't think he'll be able to catch Cody Lawrence, but anything can happen through this little section here. Chad Sundell, maybe if Ryan Newton does decide to overtake Cody Lawrence, which it looks like he might be giving himself the option to do so, onto the battery, onto the DRS. Will he go for a little bit of a dive bomb here? He's very close, but decides to back out of it, and that has given quite a bit of time advantage to Chad Sundell. With still a battery advantage, is that X-Max getting overtaken by Quinton K for 8th place? Yes, it is. So Quinton K has a bit of ground to cover if he wants to catch Aaron Altmaier at the moment. Luke Locklear is still behind Eric Cavallo within the 3-second range. So no overtakes really being made other than, of course, X-Max on Quinton K, or Quinton K on X-Max, I should say. But right now, I don't think we'll see any more, as that's actually Chad Sundell gone around in P1.
Oh, he's completely lost it in Puan there in turn 12. Oh, that's going to absolutely ruin his race for him, and he's overtaken by the Mercedes of Max and soon to be by the Alfa Romeo of Marc-Henri Bastet, and that's a Red Bull driver. That is 2 spins, and basically the same area in Sector 2. And what am I seeing also in the back? We're seeing Duncan McCabe going into the pits. He's going for the softs. He's coming out of the pits. He's actually going for the softs. So he's going to try to get a little extra point there for Red Bull, trying to get the fastest lap of the race. He's got full charge batteries, so out he goes at that moment. I mean, it's fair game for Duncan at this point, given the fact that 3 out of the 5 drivers who DNF basically return in the pits. And so that's 3 points for the Red Bull driver if he goes all the way till the end. And that is a thing that seems to be very well forgotten here in ZRL, is every driver gets points, given that you've finished 90% of the race. And so that's what, it's very important for drivers to keep on it. And we're looking at Ryan Newton. He's gaining. Oh, he's gaining. He's definitely gaining on Cody Lawrence. Cody Lawrence will not defend himself on the battery. And so Ryan Newton goes on the second step of the podium provisionally, overtakes Cody Lawrence. We've seen Cody have moments right after the Lecombs chicane in qualifying. He's keeping it clean so far to do the year behind the Williams driver. Ryan Newton in P2, right in front of Cody Lawrence. I'm expecting Cody to just try to stick it with him, and maybe was probably... I'm actually expecting him to overtake him again next lap. He was probably just charging his battery because he barely fought that Williams. So a little bit of a mental game going on here, making Newton think he's got the better top speed on him. But that's not going to happen. Major Castman with a 3-second time penalty. I'm wondering if that is his second. No, it's his first, so that is 3 seconds for him so far. And so every other driver is on the mediums, at the exception of Duncan McCamick, given the fact that he went in for the soft, so he's going for the fastest lap so far. There's some people that have made those medium tires last quite a long time. I'm looking at Eric Cavallo, his stint has been 10 laps. He was the earliest pitter from the hards to the mediums. What do you think his tires are at right now, Nathan? Is he potentially in puncture territory?
He has to be quite high on those tires here. I mean, 11 laps, you said, on the medium tires? I mean, I think I've heard that tires have quite a good durability here in Belgium. But I don't know, he's got 2 laps to go. I think he'll make it. It'll just be a bit difficult to keep Luke Locklear behind, but all he really just needs to do is stay ahead, and that's it. He can afford to lose a second or 2, but as long as he just stays ahead, I think he'll be doing, just fine.
Yeah, Luke Locklear doesn't have a really big advantage in regards to the tires. Real quick shout out to the Haas driver, Wayden Silva, currently in P13. He had started the race in P20 with the numerous DRS, and he's the newcomer driver in Division 1. He's holding his own quite well for a second driver in Haas. as Logan Dukes is going into the pits as well, currently sitting P14. He is going to try for the fastest lap as well. So that's a fast lap shootout going on for Duncan McCamick and Logan Dukes. We'll see how Duncan could fare at this point. He's well within clean air and used at least a good 50% of his batteries since his out lap a lap earlier. So we'll see how much faster lap he'll be able to muster up here, as there's not a lot of battles going on. Obviously, Cody Lawrence is maybe just reeling in Ryan Newton a little bit. Ryan's hard on the ERS to protect himself. Otherwise, we have a little bit of a group in the back between Quentin K, Max, Bastien, and Swindell, who's trying to recover from 2 spins. And it doesn't look like Duncan McCamick succeeded in having the fastest lap, even with fresh softs. And so that, I don't know if that'll be the only opportunity if we're on his last lap officially, as Dane Clem is going around turn 1. This is the final lap of the race. Unless there's an absolute chaotic curse, and I don't mean to broadcast curse anybody here, but Dane Clem would be getting his first win as an Alpine driver. I remember the last time I saw an Alpine driver at the first step in on the podium of Division 1.
P2 is on the line right here as
There
Cody
it
Lawrence
is.
goes around the outside for this final overtake. Will it be second place for Cody Lawrence? Yes,
Absolutely.
it will for now. Will Ryan Noon be able to maybe fight back with his battery? At least it doesn't look like he will at the moment. Very, very far behind now is Cody Lawrence to Dane Clem. It looks like a surefire win for
Yeah.
Dane Clem. So we just need to maybe stop talking about it for now. We don't want to curse him or anything.
Look at Eric Cavallo being in P4, by the way. He had started P7 and at some point dropped down to even P10. Maybe involved in some incidents. Obviously, we might have to look at a little bit of a moment. I believe that what happened between him and Marc-Olivier Bastien, but he'll be just at the step of the podium. But here we are with Dane Clem. He's just going around Stavelot and P15 to turn 15. He's at the door. He almost overlapping Duncan McCamick, who had done the extra pit. And so Dane Clem, Ethan Patel's secret that he revealed to us last week, the free agent signing, replacing Quentin K as well. Here he is going through turns 19 and 20 of the bus stop chicane. He is gonna take his very first win in F1 Zoom Racing League. Dane Clem, it's a P1 for him in Belgium. It's gonna be P2 for Cody Lawrence, a great drive from him. And Ryan Newton, who fought it all for the P2, he's gonna have to content himself with the position 3. And that is it. Luke Locklear, he's P4. Where's Eric Cavallo? Did Eric Cavallo run out of battery at the very end of the race? Luke Locklear seemed to be a little bit further back behind him, so I don't know if there's a moment that happened there, but looks like Locklear is going to pull away with P4. Aaron Altmaier, haven't said a word of him this race, but in the middle of the pack, look at him climbing up to a P6. That is great racing from him. Going into KP7, Chad Swindell, a bit unfortunate for him for his 2 spins. That is P8 for him. Max, the reserve driver in the Mercedes. P9, Marc-Olivier Bastien, unfortunately for him as well, having a spin and possibly a contact, bringing him down to P10. Magnussen Cube, great race from him, being in P11, so that is very close to his first top 10 finish for this AlphaTauri driver. Major Castleman reserving in Ferrari P12. Wayden Silva, his second race in ZRL Division 1, that is P13 for him. Logan Dukes P14. Duncan McCamick P15. We have 5 drivers who did not finish the race. Lewis Piper, Philemon Goulet, Cam Bourne, Maxime Beaulieu, and Kyle Blevins. Maxime and Kyle, very early race finishers, unfortunately, within the 2 first laps of the race, had to retire due to major incidents. We're just going to wait for Duncan McCamick, who's holding up the pack a little bit here to finish the race. But thank you, Duncan, for letting me go through the entire grid and getting the finishing positions. As you have now completed your race in Division 1, here it is, Duncan McCamick, it is done for him. And that's not fastest lap as well, although he's tried to go on the soft tires. Wow, what an interesting race, Nathan.
I mean, yeah, quite a good race. Honestly, I was expecting Chad to, win it, but he just had too many moments, and now he's in 10th. So, wow, just not the result I expected. But hey, I'm not going to complain about it, because we have a new winner, and it is none other than Dane Clem. Or Alpine, I mean, a team who's been on the rise quite recently. Of course, with the new trade of Quentin K, but that's not even the driver we're focusing on today. It is none other than Dane Clem as he steps onto the top step of the podium. lifts up that trophy, and it'll be smiles in the Alpine Garage tonight.
Yeah, and
Go
Dane
through our
Cobb is gonna
results.
gain quite a number of positions on the standings. I just put it up on the screen here, Nathan. He's already at 20 points from his first race in Abu Dhabi, and that win is gonna give him a 35 points. I forget if he's got fastest lap or not, but if he does, he'll get 36. So that should propulse him basically up, maybe up to 5 positions upwards, given the fact that drivers in front of him, such as Maxime Beaulieu and Kyle Blevins, didn't complete the race.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a shocker for Kyle Blevins and Maxime Beaulieu to not finish the race, but I was really hoping that at least Maxime would finish the race. I was very, very happy to see what could happen. I don't know if that's true. Actually, we're seeing on the standings here, both
Arrow.
Luke Locklear and the era, but both Luke Locklear and Peter Giordano both have 0 points. So I'm sure they'll be reset for at least Luke Locklear because he did score some points if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I forgot earlier was that Eric Cavallo had a 3-second time penalty, and Luke Locklear was well within the 3 seconds, and that is why he's got the P4. Same thing for other drivers who's lost quite a number of positions because of the time penalties. Time penalties tend to cost you quite a lot in Division 1. All right, Nathan. Traditional part of our ZRL broadcast here, especially for Division 1, is our top 3 finishers get to join us for a round of interviews. And we get to discuss with them about the race. So normally we should have our P3 finisher to begin with, and we should have Wright Newton with us at any moment. I do see in the waiting room we have Dane Clem ready, as well as Cody Lawrence.
Here we go, Ryan.
There
All right.
he is.
I will bring in our Williams driver.
Hey.
P3 finish for, Ryan Newton. Sorry to interrupt the conversation you were having, but welcome to the interview booth.
Hello.
You want to start us off, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, you fought so hard for that P2 position on Cody Lawrence, and we saw that overtake on him, but once you had overtaken him, did you have a feeling he was maybe just harvesting battery and kind of playing around with you for the final lap?
Oh, I knew he was trying to regenerate battery. I just went for it early on. I was hoping, I knew I had lower wings than him, so I'd hope maybe when he finally went for the last lap overtake that I could stay ahead, but I just didn't have the battery. But I'm actually happy with P3 around Spa. I wasn't expecting that result, but I don't know, some incidents happened or whatever. A few code browns,
I mean, yeah, you had a bunch of incidents ahead of you. I mean, for you, it was just kind of smooth sailing. You did get some overtakes on track happen, but, we had people like Chad Swindell having a huge moment. For that little chicane, was it just, straightforward? You weren't too focused on what was happening, incident-wise? You just wanted to drive your own race? Was that the case?
Yeah, I was definitely staying very aware of what the drivers ahead of me and behind me, because as Swinney actually spun literally right in front of me. I almost crashed right into him. That was scary. But
Was that through Pro?
I think Sector 2 somewhere. I think he was on his... I don't know if he was on his out lap. He might have been on his out lap. He just died right in front of me, and I...
Yeah, absolutely. What was your game at in your head, Ryan? Because I've been watching you race for a while within multiple divisions in ZRL, and I think this is one of your more mature races you've raced in a long time. I regularly mention how you're not scared to go for moves and borderline dive bomb some drivers to make your moves work. But this time it looked like it was a really mature drive, and that P3 is absolutely deserved on your part. What was going on through your head going through the race? Did you believe you had that chance to solidify the P3 and get very important points for Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna be happy with the top 5 either way. I knew that patience was key, especially at this track. I knew that I didn't need to go for overtakes really early on and just dump my battery. That all I had to do was just stick in DRS with some of the guys, and then I let the positions come to me. I mean, it was kind of a waiting game. I was waiting for other drivers to make mistakes and stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan Newton. That was our P3 finisher for Williams, Ryan Newton. Congratulations once again, Ryan.
Thank you.
So our P2 finisher for Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula 1 team, it is none other than the man Cody Lawrence leading the championship, now taking P2. How's it feeling, Cody Lawrence?
Well, um, feels okay. There's definitely some work to do after that today, quali for sure. But man, I drove my heart out for that. I genuinely drove my heart out for that.
That's interesting to hear, Cody. Given the fact that you've driven your heart out and most of the race you had a Red Bull in front of you, if it wasn't for his own mistakes, you would have finished probably P3. We're talking a lot about driver championships. We talked out to your team principal early on during qualifying.
You caught him at the perfect time, I heard.
Absolutely. Are we starting to feel the pressure, Cody?
Well, I wouldn't say pressure from this, but from something a bit more private, I would say. I thought about discussing it in here, but I was hoping to discuss it last week because that's when it started. But yeah, it's not necessarily about the championship; it's about something private. To be true to you, yeah, I don't know how to
If
quite
you want to leave it at
phrase
that,
it.
I'll
No,
definitely
I think
respect it.
it's. Well, I think it would kind of maybe. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but kind of explain why I've been a bit off the last couple weeks. I won't try to ramble too much, but when I was younger, where I was like as a little kid, my mom had breast cancer. I was probably like 5, 6 years old. She beat that, but just got the news probably about a couple days ago. It might be coming back. It might be coming for round 2. And as soon as I heard that, I was just on complete edge. Today, maybe not as much, but I wouldn't say the pressure is from championship. It's more about that because I love my mama. So
that takes courage for you to speak about it publicly like this, Cody. And I know I speak for all of Zoom Racing League when I say that we're all behind you in this, and we're all racing for Cody's mom at this point. Hoping
we're gonna hear some news tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, my absolute fingers crossed. It's not what it is. We don't know 100% for sure, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out tomorrow. The Merc boys have known about it. They've been awesome. They've been super supportive. Thank you to Leo, Simon, Max, Carl, Hector, every single one. They've been awesome.
Yeah, that's
nice
to hear.
So today wasn't necessarily driven for myself. I wouldn't say it's driven for my mama. Maybe a little bit of fight. That's what led to the P2 there. I don't know, but that one wasn't for me today. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely, Cody.
I'm sure.
Your performance, I would absolutely be proud of, and I'm sure your mother is as well. I do truly wish her the best of luck in her whatever it could be, and I wish you the best.
Thank you guys. I thank you guys. I just sorry if I'm tearing up. I'm trying my best. to hold it in, but
emotions are allowed in racing, Cody, and you're racing with emotion, and we feel it, and that is what makes, even if it's just a game and we're not esports, we're not racing for money. This is what makes the Zoom Racing League such an awesome community. Is we on the track we race wheel to wheel, but off the track we're all racing together and we support each other, and we're all with you, and we got your back, Cody, no matter what happens.
Thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you guys. I just wish I had more of my wits about me right now.
Well, we really wish you'll be able to gain them, and we'll get positive news. And yeah, keep us in touch, buddy.
Yep. Hopefully find out tomorrow. He said, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. She's a tough SOB. She's a fighter. If that's the case, I know she ain't going down without a fight. So yeah. Maybe I can channel some of that for the last 3 races. We'll see. But thank you guys for having me. Go ahead and get Dane in here. Well done to him on the win today. He's very, very strong. So congrats to him. Guys have a good night.
Thank you, Cody. Okay. We'll bring in our race winner, Nathan.
Yep, the man himself from Alpine F1 team. The man is Dane Clem, and he is our winner tonight. How's it feeling, Mr. Dane Clem?
Firstly, I just want to thank Quentin K, my teammate, for just last second giving me a setup that I think really just won me the race there. If I had any chance to begin with, because going in to the weekend, I didn't think I had the pace. Even in quali, I was just hearing times and in chat, and I was a 42.3 was my best, and thankfully that's what I was able to get, and that was enough for P3. But and then from there, had a good start and just carried away all the way to the end, which I'm still a little shocked, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, you had incredible pace, and it sounds like a story I've heard so many times, whether it be Aston Martin or in this case Alpine, where unfortunately Quentin didn't get the best race he wanted due to incidents early in the race, but given the fact that he's given you the setup, you turn up with the win and massive points for Alpine. Walk us through how was it racing, knowing you had a Red Bull charging at you and gaining time continuously until obviously he made a couple mistakes after your pitting moment. How did
Right.
you survive through that?
So when I initially broke the DRS, I thought, okay, I've got some pace in hand. I can, measure myself a little bit more, control the field. But then when I saw Swinney break away and start catching me, I thought he was just charging up ERS to break the DRS from the group behind. And I thought right then and there, when he got back into the DRS with me, I thought that was it. That was it. Just because I saw Swinney's pace in qualifying, I saw it in Abu Dhabi, and so I thought it was over. But around lap 11, Ethan Patel, he told me to pit, but I said no, I wanted to go one lap longer. And in lap 12, he was worried, and rightly so, that if I pit then, or if I didn't pit then, Swinney would get past me in open air, and then he'd gap me. But I had enough ERS to stay out one more lap to keep him behind, and that was really just the best, because then I had the tire advantage for the rest of the race, which I think was really just key to keeping the gap. I wanted to keep the gap over 2 seconds to the car behind at all times, and so just kind of measuring my pace and monitoring that gap.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think, well, I don't remember really. I don't think it was a Grand Slam, but you did lead pretty much all the laps. I mean, without pressure, or, from next races probably, you think you could maybe win another race here?
I'm going to say probably not, just because I didn't think I was going to win this one either. So it was really just, I think it was luck, really, in some ways, just with the quality, I'm blown away again with this is in a second time P3 in a row for quali, and I had a good start, and so I got Luke Locklear off the start, and I noticed right away at the start of the race that Swinney had higher downforce because of how fast I was catching him, but then the VSC came out. So I was planning on taking the lead right away, just for the show. Even then I didn't think I was going to win. But yeah, honestly, I was right at the end. I was just so focused to not bottle it, because I am prone to do that. And I was just really hoping there wasn't a safety car, because I know if there was a safety car, I would have made the wrong decision, either not pitting or pitting. I would have got a bad restart. I know I would have thrown. So I was just thinking, if I don't win here, I might not win ever again. So I was just really focused.
So So these next tracks here, we have Japan, Austria, and then finally Monaco. Through these final races, I mean, would you say these tracks are good for you, bad for you? What would you say?
I really think I'm confident around Japan. I like to call Japan my backyard. And so, but I mean, I think other people are probably pretty confident as well. So I think a podium is possible if I have the same kind of confidence going in as I did here, at least. But Austria, that's such a short lap, and you have to just get everything right. And I think other people are just a little bit better with the details than me. And so, yeah, really there, I'm just going to aim for good points. And then Monaco, honestly, it's I hate it. I'll be happy if I just finish in the points there. I really don't think I'm that good at Monaco at all. So, and I'm not being modest there. It's going to be scary.
Interesting words from Dane Clem, our race winner here in Belgium. Dane, thank you for your interview. Thank you for your time here, and we'll see you potentially on for another podium for the next 3 races.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Nathan, next race being in Japan. However, it is not next week. Next week, May 14th, it is Mother's Day. So we're gonna go celebrate our mothers, and with uh, that being said, and with the discussion we had with Cody, I think it's very important to celebrate the moms that we've got around us, and whether it be blood related or a mom model you have in your life for the next weekend. So ZRL will not be racing next weekend. We will take a week off. We'll be racing in Japan for the weekend of May 20th and 21st, and so that'll be our next race. Gives our drivers a little bit of a break and 2 weeks to practice for Japan, which is a very, very technical track, and personally one of my favorite tracks in Suzuka as well. When racing that track, I mean, I remember from the good old days of Gran Turismo, so I know the track very well as well. So Nathan, what are your predictions for our next race in 2 weeks?
Well, personally, I hate Japan, so I will not be partaking in that weekend. But so predictions here. I mean, it's kind of heating up here in Division 1. We've got new drivers, we have, new winners. Now we have so many drivers that have potential, and it's really about, whether they like this track or not, because these tracks, it's just like tracks like Japan, it's very easy to get it wrong, so you just need to be on the top of your game all the time. I think if I were to go for a top 3, as I always do in Japan, I think we'll have Chad Swindell P2, Cody Lawrence wins it. Then P3, I'm kind of hoping Marc-Olivier Bastien gets onto the podium.
He's due, isn't he? I agree with you. I think Marc-Olivier is really due for a podium. He was a regular early in the season, last season as well, but I think there's been a couple races where he's not had the best results. So I'm gonna call P3 for Marc-Olivier Bastien. Other than that, I think P2 might be Dane Clem. He sounded very confident about his race, and man, P1 I'm hesitant between Cody, but honestly, I think depending on what happens, I think it might be Chad Swindell who's gonna try to have a redemption race a little bit in Japan compared to what he had here in Belgium. He set himself up for the win and completely lost it, and it was all his fault. Nobody else to blame but him. And so I think in Japan he'll be racing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and try to get for the win there. So that'll be my top 3 for you, Nathan. And yeah, that will be the end of our broadcast here in Division 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with you not next weekend but in 2 weeks in Suzuka for round 7 of the ZRL Division 1 Championship. There's only going to be 9 rounds, right? Just a quick reminder that Britain, Jeddah, and Brazil unfortunately have been cancelled because F123 is coming. And with F123, I heard rumors that it might be the return of Hudson Pool in Division 1. And with the current lineup in Division 1, I think we're going to have a top 5 that is very, very interesting. And with that being said, Nathan, I bid you good night. Thank you again for broadcasting with me. Good quality as always. And to our viewers, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.